6 days, no arrest, no detention. Girl devotees evicted from Mutt. Rape accused Seer roams free. Karnataka Netas, the public is watching you.
How much will Karnataka's public really tolerate from its political class and government is a matter of speculation, but I can tell you that the public is very, very unhappy and it is losing patience. The public is watching you, Karnataka government and political class. How much of a long rope are you going to give a man who's been accused of child rape? I'm Shiv Aroor, this is 5 Live. This is the show on which this agenda-setting story broke first many days ago. It has forced the entire national media to follow the story, and I'm glad that they have, because this is a story for all media to unite without any rivalries. And we will continue to focus on this story. First, the headlines. India Today's relentless campaign against the rape accused. Lingayat Seer forces action. Finally, it looks like he's set to be questioned after nearly a week. This after the chief warden of the Mutt hostel has been detained. Another horrific case of assault by a stalker. Delhi minor shot at while returning from school. The teenager is fighting for life in hospital. Shooter Amanat Ali has been arrested. Explosive Punjab religious fight. After Taran church vandalization, Akal Takht alleges a missionary plot to convert poor Sikhs. BJP accuses Maan government of going soft on converters. India Today investigation reveals Sonali Phogat had multiple external injuries on her body. Curly's shack manager admits that drugs were allowed on the premises. UN probe report names and shames China, says Beijing doing unimaginable atrocities and possible crimes against humanity against minority Uyghur Muslims in the Xinjiang province. India Today's relentless campaign against the child rape accused Lingayat Seer, Shiv Aroor has forced action finally. The Muruga Mutt pontiff is likely to be questioned in the next 1 or 2 days. A lookout notice has been issued against him to stop him from possibly fleeing. There's been also the first detention in the case. The chief warden of the Chitradurga Mutt hostel, the Muruga Mutt hostel, has been detained and is being questioned by the police. But when will Shivamurthy Muruga Sharanaru, the seer himself, accused of child rape, when will he be arrested? It's already been 6 days.
After 6 days of filing an FIR, you have not done anything when it comes to the accused and the other people.
No, not correct. We are investigating the case and we are collecting the evidence. Based on evidence, we are going to inquire all the accused.
When you are going to detain him, sir? That is the question which has been asked by everybody. There are people who are protesting in your own district. People are on the street shouting slogans against you, shouting slogans against the police department, saying that you are not capable enough. There is influence which is not allowing you to take action against him.
No such things. When evidence are sufficient, definitely we will arrest the accused.
But any POXO case within 24 hours, you detain people for questioning. But nothing you have done in so far.
Not like that. As per CRPC and POXO Act only, we are investigating the case.
My final question is, when are you going to arrest or summon or question Shivamurthy Sharanam, sir?
We will do.
When, sir? When is that? When is that? Because already 7 days now.
Say like that.
7 days now. FIR has been filed.
No.
Last Friday was that, and you haven't done anything so far when it comes to summoning him, questioning him, or anything. What is stopping you, sir?
No. I can't fix up the date, we will do it.
When, sir? When is
Yeah.
that is the question?
We will do.
People are criticizing
No.
you, sir.
No,
As
no
an
problem.
SP of Chitradurga, people are
Yeah.
criticizing you. They are asking why there is lack of transparency in the case.
100% it is investigating and through transparency only. Definitely we will do that.
That was K. Parshurama, and India Today is the only channel that has put questions to the Karnataka police. The Chitradurga police there, trying to make excuses over why the seer has not been arrested after nearly a week since child rape charges were framed against him. He's been booked by the police for child rape, but he still hasn't been detained or questioned. Forget about being arrested. Sagai Raj, the only journalist putting those tough questions to the police, and one can't even perhaps blame the police because there is probably political instructions to the police, Sagai, not to do anything, not to go in and arrest this man. That is what has happened. Even though K. Parshurama has tried to give some straight answers, it is very clear there is political pressure here, Sagai.
Absolutely, Shiv. You have rightly pointed out the repercussion that police might face. And there is also an influence of a powerhouse in Karnataka on police officers in the state. See, you can see now, it is 7 days after filing an FIR in Mysuru, and later on it has been transferred to Chitradurga. So far, for these 7 days, they have not even summoned him or questioned the accused who have been mentioned in the FIR. And today is the first day where the police have made some headways and detained Rashmi for questioning. Yesterday, there was, day before yesterday, the statement of survivors were registered under CRPC 164. Whenever the statement is registered under CRPC 164, it becomes very serious in nature, and immediately police have to act if those statements amount to some kind of crime. But in this particular case, despite even CRPC 164 statement has been registered, police are sitting on that. So far, they have not even summoned the seer. Seer is still a free bird. He's scot-free inside the mud. He's living the same life how he used to live much before FIR has been filed. Even today, influential people, including former IPS officers, politicians, businessmen, everybody meet him. There is no restrictions for him. So this clearly shows the kind of clout this Shivamurthy Sharanuru enjoys in Chitradurga, and probably that is the reason even the police are not nearing close to him.
Very, very important, and I once again want to stress that India Today is the only channel with the guts, with the fearlessness to question the political class, the government and the police in a case that involves child rape. Viewer, you've been watching me cover this story, and this channel cover this story, set the agenda, force the media to cover this story for the last 1 week. And there's a reason for it. This isn't just any old crime. This isn't just a time to be cynical and say, oh, political pressure, police, elections, etc. This is a case of alleged child rape, and laws are framed for a purpose. The POCSO laws are framed with non-bailable provisions for a purpose. It is to protect children. It is to give those children the protection they deserve until the person who has been accused can either establish his innocence or is found to be guilty. No matter what, they have to be detained and questioned. That is the law, and that law is not being applied in the case of Shivamurthy Sharanuru. He is not guilty until a court decides so, and the media will not decide it. But the provisions demand that he has to be detained, questioned and arrested since he is accused of child rape. That is the violation, and that is the shame that is happening in Karnataka today. 6 days since these allegations of the rape of 2 young teenagers came to the fore, zero action has been taken against the Muruga Mutt chief pontiff. He roams free in the Mutt while all girl devotees have been evicted amidst this controversy. Here is the shame on day 6. It's been days since he's been accused of raping 2 minors at a school run by his revered mutt in Karnataka. But despite the heinous charges and the invocation of the child rape law POCSO, Shivamurthy Muruga Sharanuru, the Lingayat Seer, still roams free. The charges against Seer Shivamurthy are non-bailable, remember. But despite mounting concerns and protests and non-stop coverage by India Today, the Chitradurga police continues to tiptoe around the godman. While the seer is yet to face the law and has moved for pre-arrest bail, the minor survivors are being repeatedly made to record their statements.
There is no delay in dealing with this bail petition, and delay is happening in investigation only.
Protests have erupted against the kid glove treatment for the rape accused seer.
Large number of people are on the streets protesting against district administration and police on not acting against alleged accused in the POCSO case, including Shivamurthy Sharanu and his colleagues. You can see here various associations are protesting in front of district administration office.
ಇವತ್ತು ಪ್ರತಿಭಟನೆ ಮುತ್ತಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಿರೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಡಿಸಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಮುತ್ತಿಗೆ ಹಾಕಿರೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಸುಮಾರು ಪೋಕ್ಸೋ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯಾಗಿ ಸುಮಾರು 5-6 ದಿನಗಳು ಕಳೆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ ಅವರನ್ನ ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Facing heat, the administration has promised action.
They are safe. You need not worry about the security of the children. The Child Rights Commission has instructed to ship them. They have done that.
Where have they been shifted, ma'am?
To various hostels. Wherever space is available, we have shifted them.
Meanwhile, the chorus is growing in the Lingayat community and the BJP for the seer to come clean and face justice.
Law is a common for everybody. It is common for rich and poor and seer and devotee. There should not be any difference between the rich and poor. Because here there are only two persons. One is a victim and one is an alleged rapist. And the case has been filed under the POSCO Act, which is supposed to take immediate action.
ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮುರುಘಾ ಶಾರ್ಡರು ಕೂಡ ನಿರಾಕರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂದೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಪಿರಸಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನನಗೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಂಶಯ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮುಚ್ಚಾಕ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಅದರಿಂದ
The Child Rights Panel too has sought a report from the Karnataka police.
पुलिस ने अगर कहीं इनएक्शन किया है और उसके कारण किसी भी एक्यूज्ड को अनड्यू बेनिफिट्स मिलते हैं किसी भी लैप्सेस के, तो पुलिस अथॉरिटीज इसके लिए जिम्मेदार होंगे, उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस उनको भुगतने होंगे. कमीशन इस बारे में एकदम साफ है कि पॉक्सो एक्ट में सीआरपीसी में जो प्रोसेसेस लिखी हुई हैं उसका उनको फॉलो करना ही होगा.
How long before Karnataka netas gather courage and let the law take its course? 6 days and counting. With Sagai Raj in Chitradurga, Karnataka, Bureau Report, India Today. And let's give you an overview of the entire timeline of this case so far. Between January 2019 and June 2022, two girls alleged that they were abused for a total of 3.5 years, 2019 to 2022. On July 24th this year, the victims, aged 15 and 16, left from the Muruga Mutt hostel where they used to stay. On July the 25th this year, the victims were seen at the Cotton Pet police station. On August the 26th, just a few days ago, an FIR was registered at the Mysuru police station. The same day, August the 26th, an FIR against an ex-Mutt hostel warden and his family was registered. On August the 27th, the FIR was transferred to Chitradurga, where the Muruga Mutt is located. On August the 28th, the seer Shivamurthy Muruga Sharanaru was charged under sections of the POCSO Act for child rape. On August the 29th, this accused godman disappeared from the Mutt. On August the 29th, same day, the police escorted the seer back to the Mutt. No questioning or anything, they simply escorted him back to the Mutt. Same day, this seer, Shivamurthy, after reaching the Mutt, he came out onto a balcony in full public view, held up a microphone and called it a conspiracy against him. No fear whatsoever. Same day, he sought anticipatory bail from the courts. That's his right. August the 30th, Shivamurthy Sharanaru, the seer, was booked under the SC/ST Act. Atrocities, because both the minors who were allegedly raped by him, happened to be from the Dalit community. August 30th, he held a press conference. The Godman held, the Seers, other Lingayat Seers, held a press conference supporting Shivamurti, the accused Seer. Same day, the victim's statement was recorded by the Chitradurga police. 31st, that's yesterday, other girls were evicted from the Karnataka Mutt hostel, and the Seer continues to be free 6 days after allegations were registered by the police against him. Now, the influential Lingayat Seer has enjoyed patronage from across the political spectrum, most recently from Rahul Gandhi, but earlier from members of the BJP and the central government as well. With elections in Karnataka just months away, to be precise, less than 9 months away, politicians have stayed away from antagonizing the Lingayat community, because that's the real key to the inaction against this Godman viewer. And you understand it because we've explained it. It's because this is an influential community that can swing an election one way or the other. That's the reason why no politician wants to go out on a limb and take a stand against this Godman, because this community holds considerable political influence. Take a look at the politics of Karnataka's national shame.
6 days since he was booked for child rape, Karnataka's Muruga Mutt Seer, Shivamurti Muruga Sharanaru is still free. On Wednesday evening, the Seer was seen walking around the Mutt, going into the girls' hostel where the 2 survivors also stayed. All the girls have been moved out of the Mutt hostel. But despite several visits from the police and a lookout notice against the Seer, he's still not been arrested. Shivamurti Muruga Sharanaru belongs to the influential Lingayat community, which is a crucial vote bank in Karnataka. Assembly elections are just months away. Is that why no action has been taken against the Seer?
ಎಲ್ಲ ದುರಂತ ಸತ್ಯಾಸತ್ಯತೆ ಹೊರಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಫ್ರೀ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಆ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಗಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಾಗ ನಾನು ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು, ನೀವು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಸರಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಕಾನೂನಿಗೆ ತಲೆಬಾಗೋಣ. ಯಾರೇ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ದೊಡ್ಡವರಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಕಾನೂನು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಂದೇ. ಆ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಪಾಲನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ.
Politicians cutting across party lines in Karnataka have in fact come out in support of the Seer. Some even term the rape charges against the pontiff a conspiracy.
I don't know the fact. According to me, I have seen that he is a very noble man who has done some great contribution to the state. Let me leave it to the. Let me not interfere with the whatever the police or the government is doing late, because I can't only reply to whatever you are telling. Let me examine it, then I'll come back to you.
Sir, the investigation is going on. Let investigation report come out. Arresting, non-arresting is not an issue. The investigation should be proper. I hope the Karnataka government and Karnataka police are doing the proper investigation.
After days of outrage, some political leaders are speaking out, demanding action against the Seer.
This is because the minority girls, they should not be offended. Their chastity or anything, their education, everything must be protected. Everything must be protected. This sexual harassment, no one tolerate this. That too from a priest. No.
DP ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಗೃಹ ಸಚಿವರಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾಗ್ಲಿ, ಡಿಜಿಪಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒತ್ತಡ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ನಿಷ್ಪಕ್ಷಪಾತದಿಂದ ಪ್ರಕರಣ ದಾಖಲಾಗಿದೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ FIR ಹಾಕಿದೀವಿ, ನಾವು ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವತ್ತು. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮುರುಘಾ ಶಾರೂರ್ ಕೂಡ ನಿರಾಕರಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಹಿಂದೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಪಿರಸಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನನಗೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಂಶಯ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮುಚ್ಚಾಕ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಆ ಪೋಕ್ಸೋ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕರಣ ದಾಖಲಾಗಿ ಸೂಕ್ತವಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತನಿಖೆ ನಡೆಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒತ್ತಾಯ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು.
Mutts like Muruga Rajendra wield huge clout in Chitradurga. With the Lingayats spread over Karnataka, the Mutts also command political influence, and several chief ministers of the state, including the current CM Basavaraj Bommai and former Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa, hail from the community. With Sagai Raj in Chitradurga, Bureau Report, India Today.
And now Karnataka's Women and Child Welfare Minister has finally spoken out on the child rape accused Seer. Women and Child Welfare Minister Halappa Achar says the police is doing its job. The minister says there's no question of not having courage and the law is the same for everyone, and that the government is doing its job, which is complete nonsense, of course, because these are just words that the public does not believe anymore. Under POCSO provisions, the accused has to be questioned and detained immediately. Neither of those two things has happened, far from being arrested. So for the Women and Child Welfare Minister of Karnataka to say that the police is doing its job, he perhaps means that the police is listening to the government and the politicians and staying away from applying the law and the provisions of POCSO. Here's what the minister said, the latest lame excuse from the Bommai government.
ಈಗ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯದ ನಿರ್ದೇಶನಗಳು ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಹೋಗ್ಯತಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾನೂನು ರೀತಿಯ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ನನ್ನ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನಾನೊಂದು ಪ್ರತಿಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಕ್ರಿಯೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ವಿ. ಯಾರು ಸಿಕ್ಕ ನನಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಸಿಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಂದೇ ಮಾತನಾಡೋದು, ಈ ದೇಶದೊಳಗೆ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಅಡಿಯೊಳಗೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಬದುಕತ್ತೀವಿ, ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಚೌಕಟ್ಟಿನೊಳಗೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇರಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಇರಲಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸ ತನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯದ ನಿರ್ದೇಶನಗಳು ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ನ್ಯಾಯಾಲಯ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಹೋಗ್ಯತಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾನೂನು ರೀತಿಯ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ನನ್ನ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನಾನೊಂದು ಪ್ರತಿಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಕ್ರಿಯೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ವಿ. ಯಾರು ಸಿಕ್ಕ ನನಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಸಿಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಂದೇ ಮಾತನಾಡೋದು, ಈ ದೇಶದೊಳಗೆ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಅಡಿಯೊಳಗೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಬದುಕತ್ತೀವಿ, ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಚೌಕಟ್ಟಿನೊಳಗೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇರಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಇರಲಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸ ತನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ.
But community leaders from the Lingayat community, the most influential and politically powerful community in Karnataka, are beginning to speak out, because this is now reflecting on the state of Karnataka at large. Lingayat leader GB Patil has now stepped out to demand action against the Seer, one of the few to come out and demand action, even while shame-faced politicians, including from the ruling party, the opposition party, the other parties, have all put their tail between their legs and said nothing at all.
Mr. Patil, we know that the Seer, Shiv Murthy, is a revered religious pontiff within the Lingayat community. He has access to all politicians who come by there only to meet him. That's the kind of clout he holds. But this is a POCSO case, yet no arrest, no medical tests done. And we fear that this will really alter the course of fair and free investigation. How would you look at this as a Lingayat community member?
It is very bad on the country's the law. Law is a common for everybody. It is common for rich and poor and seer and devotee. There should not be any difference between the rich and poor, because here there are only two persons. One is a victim and one is an alleged rapist. And the case has been filed under the POCSO Act, which is supposed to take immediate action. And I don't know what is the reason of taking it another 6 days or so. And until now, nothing is happening, and the whole country is watching. The same thing has happened earlier also in case of that Asaram Bapu and one more in Haryana case. But at last, the law took its own course and they have been arrested. They are behind the bars. But now we are not saying that. We are only requesting the Seer as well as the authority, let the country know the truth. It is actually the minor girls, and that too they are coming from such a downtrodden family. They are supposed to get the justice. They are not getting the justice. If they have alleged, they should be immediate. There should be an inquiry. And why the third person is coming in? Why the conspiracy theory is happening here? There is no necessary, because there's only two cases here. One is the rapist, alleged rapist, and others is the dispute between the Mutt. That is altogether separate case. Why people are linking that case into this? Lingayats are very law-abiding citizens. They are not afraid of anything. Truth is truth. And the Basavanna in 12th century, he came out with all these things, Today we are following that Basavanna. And if somebody is doing this, and it is a shame on the community, entire religion.
Yeah.
No, actually, we want that. No. I am not saying that Seer has made a mistake, but let the investigation should happen properly.
Nabila, who had that conversation with GB Patil, very, very important conversation where, elders and leaders from the community are speaking out. And, Nabila, we have to get one thing very clear. The Lingayat community is a prestigious community full of upstanding citizens. There is no question of seeing, the community as one. But clearly with GB Patil and others coming out and speaking out about this, there is a sense within the community perhaps that this is tarnishing the name of the community. It's reflecting on them. People are talking about Lingayats with the elections coming up and all the political pressure, and that perhaps is forcing people like GB Patil and hopefully others to come out and say the law is the law no matter who you are.
Shiv, GB Patil is a very prominent face within the Lingayat community. He heads one of the organizations for the Lingayat communities. And in that conversation, it was an 8-minute long interview that I had with him. And I'm quoting him here. He very clearly said that this is not the first time an instance of this nature has been spoken about in the streets of Chitradurga. Apparently, according to him, he says that he's heard a lot of such stories coming out from that Mutt's hostel for the last few years. In fact, he also quoted H.D. Kumaraswamy of the JDS, who's apparently said that this is nothing new. This is not news to him because he's heard of child molestation cases coming out of that very Mutt's premises at that hostel there, even in the past. So he said to me that if this is the first time that two girls have taken the courage and gone and filed a police complaint, the police should act swiftly because they come from a very poor background, are from the scheduled caste. The family has absolutely no backing. It could very well be possible that the very wealthy Murga Mutt in Chitradurga could use all their money, power and influence to maybe push the family members to withdraw the case. And that's why we're seeing hordes of people, locals in Chitradurga, who are out there on the streets protesting outside the DC's office and saying until and unless the Seer is arrested, they're not going to get up from there. Even as I speak, all those locals are seated there, Shiv, and they're also saying that to teach all the political parties a lesson, they're going to boycott elections this time in Karnataka. That's how furious they are. The locals are not going to vote for any of the parties, citing that parties are hoping that they're going to get some political influence out of this case. So we're going to teach them a lesson. We will not vote. That's how clear they are.
Nabila, you've been in touch with many of the, elders and, political leaders on the ground. What is the mood? What is the strategy for many of these parties? The Bommai government obviously under a great deal of pressure. The BJP has, made many significant moves recently to placate the Lingayat community, as it were. They've boosted Yediyurappa, brought him back onto center stage in many ways, given him more powers. Mr. Bommai himself is a Lingayat leader. So, that part is understandable. What about the Congress party and the JDS? One would have expected that they would have said something, given that this is an issue of child rape which goes beyond politics. But is the politics before this election so cynical that no politician is willing to come out and say anything? DK Shivakumar, H.D. Kumaraswamy, nobody.
As much as the government is responsible, Karnataka government, BJP government is surely responsible for not pushing the police in the right direction. This is their duty to ensure police acts as per law. Equally responsible is DK Shivkumar's Congress party in Karnataka, who were really hoping so hard that after Yediyurappa was almost forced out, this is what they say, Yediyurappa was forced out as a chief minister, Lingayat community is slightly upset. So this is our chance to rope in all that support. Whatever the indecisive voters there who are upset over BJP not allowing allowing Yediyurappa to be the chief minister, we're going to try and lure them into our party, which is why we're seeing this shocking silence coming even from DK Shiv Kumar, who otherwise is so ferocious. He's otherwise very vociferously condemning the BJP on many fronts about corruption, etc., etc. Here's a POCSO case where you have two minor girls saying that they were raped and assaulted, but not a word from the Congress party pushing for arrest and going as per law. Apart from that, the BJP trying very hard to maintain their loyalties with, their equation and loyalties with the Lingayat community. The Congress trying hard to, of course, win them over. It's really awful to see the kind of dynamics here. Election time, all political parties forget all sorts of issues, including crime and rape against children. For them, it's their electoral win, which is paramount.
And
very tragic, very shameful, Shiv.
And it's clear, Nabila, one final question to you, that, it's been nearly 1 week since, since the case was registered, since the seer was booked, and he's not been arrested. Clearly, the government, and the political class wants to sort of lay the groundwork, placate community leaders, sect leaders, etc., before they have no choice but to apply the law. So it's possible that in the next 1 or 2 days, perhaps even later today, Shivamurthy Sharanaru may be questioned.
No, we've got some really strong sources, India Today sources on ground. In fact, Sagai is right there on ground, including Nagarjun. They've been giving us really credible reports, and our sources tell us that the seer very soon will be interrogated. He will be questioned. Not too sure if he'll be arrested and whether they're going to be taking him to the police station for questioning or whether the cops are going to the Mutt. That remains to be seen. But what's ironic here is that the Chitradurga police have been going in and out of the Mutt premises only to see that security and law and order is maintained around, but they haven't had the courage to actually question him and detain him. What's very important and paramount at this point, Shiv, is that a medical test of this accused seer has not been done. Imagine, he's been accused of rape of 2 minor girls, and it's been over a week. He's not 7 days, Shiv, 26th of August to 1st of September. We're looking at a medical test not done. If this delays any further, this would completely alter the course of investigation. Free and fair investigation will be fully hampered, and this will, I can only wonder what the girls are right now going through, Shiv.
It's incredible. It's incredible to even imagine that something this brazen can take place in a progressive state like Karnataka. But like we keep saying, that is what elections do in this country. It's really, really, really scary. I hazard to say, in many ways, we are inching towards becoming a banana republic. The kind of countries we shame near our borders, we're becoming like them in the misapplication of law, because people are powerful, people are privileged, and people are influential. We'll keep a track of this story. The only channel that broke the story has stayed with it, asked the hard questions, and fearlessly stayed until we get you a result on this. Thanks for watching this segment. On the other side of this very short break, right here on 5 Live, we have another big story from the other end of the country, Punjab. An explosive religious fight has broken out after a Taran church in Punjab has been vandalized. Parts of it have been set on fire. The Akal Takht has alleged a Christian missionary plot to convert poor Sikhs into Christianity. The Bhagwant Mann government is on the back foot, but the story goes much deeper than that. We're going to get you a full special story on that next.
Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
A Catholic church in Punjab's Taran district was vandalized on Tuesday night. The idol of Jesus Christ and Mary in the church was desecrated and a car on the church premises was set ablaze. Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann of Punjab has ordered a probe into the incident. Here's what the issue is all about. Security forces have been deployed there because there is tension prevailing in Taran district. Take a look.
Rare tension between the Sikhs and the Christians in Punjab. A group of Nihangs, the traditional Sikh warrior order, seen disrupting a Christian missionary event on Monday in a remote village of Amritsar district. 2 days later, a Pieta statue vandalized. A car burnt at a church in neighbouring Taran district by men in masks. Unease seems to be growing between the two tiny minority communities at the national level in the state of Punjab. At its root are accusations of large-scale religious conversions by Christian missionaries in the Sikh heartland. The issue has snowballed into the top echelons of governance and religion. The AAP administration has moved to prosecute the vandals, inviting a swift backlash from the highest Sikh religious authority. Gyani Harpreet Singh, the Jathedar of the Akal Takht, has been vocal about what he calls a conversions by lure, especially in border districts of Punjab. In a state with no anti-conversion law, the Jathedar stood staunchly beside the Nihangs charged for disrupting the missionary event and demanded the cases against them be withdrawn and longer-term measures be taken to stop religious conversions of Sikhs and Hindus in Punjab.
वो कुछ किया जा रहा है जिसकी ईसाईयत भी इजाजत नहीं देती और सिखां नूं गुमराह करके कल्ले सिखां नूं नहीं पंजाब दे हिंदुआं नूं भी गुमराह करके तेजी दे नाल ईसाई बनाउण दा जिहड़ा पंजाब दे विच यतन है इस सरकार दी नक थल्ले चल रहा है। हालांकि धर्म के नाम के उत्ते जे कोई पखंड करता है तो भारतीय संविधान दी धारावां के मुताबिक उहदे ते परचे जिहड़े है वो दर्ज हो जाते हैं हुंदे भी है।
Officially constituting 1.26% in the Sikh majority state, Christians protested attacks on their church in Taran and the Amritsar missionary event.
We do not know anything. 4 people came to our campus and destroyed the statues and burned our vehicle. And they were here in the campus near about 25 minutes moving around. So after that, threatening all people and keeping our security guard on the chair, binding on the gunpoint. And after that, all these things happened. They have left the campus.
At the political level, the BJP has cornered the Bhagwant Mann government, accusing it of patronizing the alleged conversions and of targeting the Sikhs instead.
मैं पंजाब सरकार को ये चेतावनी देना चाहता हूं, अगर आपने इस कार्रवाई को नहीं रोका तो हम सब लोग सड़कों पर उतरने के लिए मजबूर हो जाएंगे। और मैं श्रोमणी गुरुद्वारा प्रबंधक कमेटी और दिल्ली गुरुद्वारा मैनेजमेंट कमेटी से विनती करता हूं, इन निहंग सिंहों को आप इनाम दें जिन्होंने इस धर्म परिवर्तन के खिलाफ आवाज उठाई है और जबरन धर्म परिवर्तन को रोकने की कोशिश की है।
The state government has rejected accusations of bias as well as demands for Punjab's own anti-conversion laws.
पंजाब एक सेकुलर स्टेट है। पंजाब के लोग सभी धर्मों का सम्मान करते हैं। पंजाब गुरुओं पीरों की धरती है। पंजाब में कभी भी धार्मिक स्तर पे कभी कोई दंगा नहीं हुआ, कुछ नहीं हुआ। पर लेकिन जिन लोगों ने तरन में बाकुरपुर गांव में शांति भंग की है और चर्च को तोड़ा है, उनके खिलाफ सरकार सख्त एक्शन लेगी।
On his part, the Jathedar has called for Sikh mobilization over the issue. A congregation is scheduled for September 5 at Anandpur Sahib, with conversions and a law to stop them topping the agenda. With Kamaljeet Sandhu, Bureau Report, India Today.
And I want to bring onto this discussion India Today's Harmeet Shah Singh, who's reported extensively from Punjab and has been watching all aspects of this unfolding story since the election season in Punjab this year. Harmeet, what are you making of this particular latest incident? I know you've reported, earlier too on this, which we'll get to in a moment. But what are you making of this particular incident and the comments that are being made by the politicians? Break it down for us. Tell us where this is coming from.
Shiv, this is a very layered issue. I think not a single incident, I mean, this is very unfortunate, whatever has happened, can be used to explain and unravel the whole situation. In Punjab, Christians constitute 1.26% of population, but then when you travel across the state, you will see that there are numerous churches and there are accusations of religious conversions, and they have been happening for the past maybe 20-25 years. But over a period of time, what's been observed is that there is a barrage of videos where some pastors are shown doing some sort of miracles, and there are impressionable people in every community. And people turn to them and there are so many problems. There is poverty, there is disease, and people turn to them, and they retain their original names because
they convert.
But they switch faith. This is what we observed there. And it's kind of, if you've watched Wild Country on Netflix,
yes.
Now the people there in Punjab, it's the same psychology which is there, that the community there, the Sikh community, the Hindu community, they feel being invaded, like the people in Oregon, they felt invaded by the Osho commune. So it's some kind of that phenomenon which has unfolded in Punjab, and which I think has to be tackled at the social and religious level, maybe not by, because there's no anti-conversion law, so legally, I don't think there is any scope.
No, you're absolutely right that it's a highly layered issue, but it's obviously also becoming a law and order issue, and you're absolutely also right about, many of those videos of miracle makers and things like that going viral, and people are impressionable. There's a degree of poverty as well, on which some of these churches and some of these missionaries may be targeting. It's been an allegation about those who are targeting conversions across different kinds, different parts of the country as well. But if something illegal has been happening, if inducements have been used, then it is certainly a cause for concern, and the Bhagwant Mann government will be questioned on it. Now, India Today's special investigation that Harmeet worked on brings you this exclusive ground report on the issue of forced conversions of Sikhs, especially from marginalized sections of the community. Watch this report. This is something that India Today did a deep dive on earlier this year during the elections, and it has become explosively relevant with what has just happened in Taran district.
चलो उठो जो बीमार हैं छोड़ दो कुर्सी छोड़ दो कुर्सियां छोड़ दो इधर दिखाओ छोड़ दो कुर्सियां छोड़ दो कुर्सियां हालेलुया
A long-standing claim about induced conversions in Punjab. Even the highest seat of the Sikh Temporal Authority has echoed similar charge. In October last year, the Jathedar of the Akal Takht accused the state's Christian missionaries of proselytizing.
We are on the ground to find out the truth. Are there conversion squads luring or forcing some people in Punjab to Christianity? Or are those people converting out of conviction to a different religion?
Parminder Kaur is a mother of two. Hers is hand-to-mouth existence. She hand-stitches footballs for a living at her village home in Hoshiarpur district. Kaur insists she embraced Christianity some 13 years ago out of sheer faith. According to her, no one lured her to convert. Kaur's husband, Manjeet Singh too, will get baptized soon.
ਕੁਝ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਵਰ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾਏ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਰਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਵਰ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਸੀ। ਮੈਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਚੱਲੀ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਵਰਗ ਤੱਕ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਵਰ ਨੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਦਿਖਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਵਰ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਚੱਲੀ ਹਾਂ। ਜਦੋਂ 2-3 ਸਾਲ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਡਬਲ ਮਾਈਂਡ ਹੀ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ। ਮੈਂ 2004 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਸੰਬਰ 'ਚ ਮੈਰਿਜ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ 2008-9 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਬਪਤਿਸਮਾ ਲਿਆ। ਮੈਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗ੍ਰਹਿਣ ਕੀਤਾ। ਮੈਂ ਸਰੀਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਰੋਗ ਸੀਗੇ। ਜਦੋਂ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਯਿਸੂ ਮਸੀਹ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਉੱਪਰੋਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮਤਲਬ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਉੱਪਰ ਤੋਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਯਿਸੂ ਮਸੀਹ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਛੁਟਕਾਰਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਆ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਪੈਸਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ।
In the same neighborhood, Manjeet Kaur hasn't yet converted. But she is already a churchgoer. A local pastor raised funds for the wedding of Manjeet Kaur's daughter. Born into the SC community, she is now planning to construct a new identity for herself.
मंजीत जी, आप कब से प्रभु के पास जा रही हैं?
ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜੋਤੀ ਦੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਨੂੰ? ਤੇ 2 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਜਾਂਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ 2 साल हो गए ਜਾਂਦਿਆਂ।
2 साल से जा रही हैं आप?
हाँ जी।
अभी जाना शुरू किया?
हाँ जी।
ऐसा क्या हुआ कि आप प्रभु के पास जाने लगे?
ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਦਿਲ ਜਿਹਾ ਜੰਮ ਗਿਆ, ਜਾਣੀ ਕਿ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਮਨ, ਜਾਣੀ ਕਿ ਦਿਲ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ। ਜਾਣੀ ਕਿ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਲਿਆ ਅਸੀਂ। ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਲੜਕੀ ਦਾ ਵਿਆਹ, ਜਾਣੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਤੰਗੀ ਸੀ, ਜਾਣੀ ਕਿ ਗਰੀਬੀ ਸੀ, ਜਾਣੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਾ ਵੀ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਵਿਆਹ ਉਹਦਾ।
ਕੋਈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਹਾਇਤਾ ਕੀਤੀ, ਮੱਦੀ ਸਹਾਇਤਾ ਕੀਤੀ? ਪੈਸੇ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਕਿੰਨੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਸੀਗੇ?
ਪੈਸੇ ਚਾਹ ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਖਰਚਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ।
ਅੱਛਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ
ਜਾਣੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਿਆ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦਾਜ ਦੂਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਦੇਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ।
आप क्या बैप्टिज्म लेंगी? आप कब मन बना रही हैं? कब जाएंगी?
ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਭਾਜੀ, ਉਹ ਘਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ ਮਾੜੇ।
Images of Christ and Sikh gurus placed side by side on the walls of this room. Narinder Pal Singh calls himself both a Sikh and a believer in Christianity. This reorientation came after a local pastor gave him emotional support and held prayers for him when he was hospitalized with severe COVID.
आप क्रिश्चियनिटी को मानते हैं?
हाँ जी, मानते हैं।
लेकिन आप कन्वर्टी हैं? आपने कन्वर्ट किया अपने आप को?
नहीं, कन्वर्ट तो नहीं किया सर, मगर मैं उससे भी ज़्यादा इसके अंदर मैं उनके साथ सहमति के अंदर हूँ। मैं
ऐसा क्या हुआ जो आपका एकदम से विश्वास सिखिज्म से क्रिश्चियनिटी की तरफ आ गया?
नहीं, विश्वास तो सर देखिए मेरा सिखी धर्म में भी पूर्ण है और रहेगा। जो इस जगह मेरा विश्वास पहुंचा है मेरे प्रभु परमेश्वर की तरह, आज से 2020 में 10वें महीने के अंदर मुझे कोविड हो गया था। कोविड होने के बाद मुझे पटियाला के अंदर रंद्रा हॉस्पिटल के अंदर हॉस्पिटल में मुझे दाखिल करा दिया गया। जब वहाँ पे दाखिल कराया तो वहाँ पे मेरी हालत बहुत ज़्यादा सीरियस हो गई। तो मैंने अपने मित्र हमारे पास्टर जी हैं स्टीफन जी, तो मैंने उनको बाहर फ़ोन किया, रिक्वेस्ट की कि हे स्टीफन जी, मुझे आप यहाँ से जैसे तैसे भी आप मुझे यहाँ से दूसरे हॉस्पिटल में ट्रांसफ़र कीजिए। बेटे को बता दिया, स्टीफन जी को बता दिया, पास्टर जी को, ये आपका जो है पेशेंट जो है खतरे के अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा है, सीरियस केस है, नो चांसेस, इसके बचने के चांस बिल्कुल नहीं है। तो मेरे जो मित्र हैं स्टीफन जी, पास्टर जी, तो उनसे मैंने कहा कि प्रभु की तरफ से आप मेरी तरफ आप भी प्रार्थना कीजिए। उन्होंने कहा आप कान पे मोबाइल लगाइए। मेरी इतनी भी हिम्मत नहीं थी कि जो मोबाइल को उठा के मैं अपने कान तक ले जाऊं। मैंने कान पे जैसे तैसे उनका मोबाइल लगाया तो उन्होंने जो प्रार्थना की, जैसे जैसे प्रार्थना करते गए तो मेरी मोबाइल की पकड़ मेरे हाथ से मजबूत होती गई। तो दूसरी प्रार्थना मेरी दोपहर को उन्होंने की है, तो मैं कहा, तो मैं बेड के ऊपर ही, मैं जो भी लैट्रिन बाथरूम वगैरह मुझे ऊपर ही कराते थे, तो मैंने उसके दोपहर को जो प्रार्थना हुई है, मैंने 2 घंटे के बाद मैंने खुद ऑक्सीजन हटाई, बेड छोड़ के मैं खुद चला गया। और मेरे पास वो शब्द ही नहीं है, मेरे पर वो अल्फाज ही नहीं है जो मैं उनकी जितनी भी इस चीज़ की मैं तारीफ़ करूं या उसका धन्यवाद करूं, वो मेरे पास शब्द नहीं। मैं सारी उम्र भी धन्यवाद करता रहूं तब भी वो कम है।
In the Sikh majority state, Christians make up a tiny minority with only a marginal increase in the 2001 to 2011 decade. Churches, however, are a common sight across the state.
There is no such official data about how many people in Punjab have formally converted to Christianity in any given time. But for someone to go down a path other than the faith of their birth, the change is characterized by a complex mixed factor, social, economic and emotional included. With camera person Dalveer Singh and with my colleague Shreya Chatterjee, this is Nitin Jain for India Today.
You know, Harmeet, one final comment from you. There have been some political attacks on the Bhagwant Mann government, which is understandable and expected in a democracy. But will he have to take some action? Because you said that this has been something that's been going on with different levels of intensity for about 25 years now. Has it come to a point where the government will have to take some kind of action or at least look into it?
I think, you know, the demands are now growing for an anti-conversion law and the Aam Aadmi Party government in Punjab has clearly ruled that out. That said, this was expected from the opposition as well, that they will raise this issue. But, you know, one has to look at the picture from a broader perspective. Of course, conversions by lure, conversions by superstition are nowhere accepted in the world, at the social level at least. I mean, I'm not talking about the law of the land.
Yes.
That said, it also calls for some sort of reflection within the Punjabi community, especially the Sikhs. They have to reflect upon one thing, that has there been a dominance of one section of the Sikh community in Punjab's overall political, social and religious fabric? If that's so, maybe what we are witnessing now is the adverse effect which has taken place over 20, 25, 30 or 35 or 40 years, and people began feel alienating themselves, and they took a different path. So maybe that's something which the Sikh community especially has to reflect upon.
You're absolutely right, Harmeet. Many, many layers to this story. Difficult to call it black and white. There are, you know, there are complexities here, and there are very, very sensitive issues at play here in a land which has a very, very long history of upheaval. So we leave it there for the moment, but we'll try and get more clarity on the investigation into the immediate incident that's happened in Taran and, as Harmeet said, the broader issue that we must continue to look at. Harmeet, thank you very much for joining me here on 5 Live. And ending 5 Live today with this very, very heartwarming story, all the way from the forests of Tamil Nadu. 72 hours after a month-old baby elephant got separated from her mother, the Forest Department reunited the two. You can imagine the joy on the second day of Ganesh Chaturthi. These auspicious images of baby and mother reunited.